this video, we'll walk through the process of running a simple calculation. In the model editor, calculations are set up using job streams. Job streams describe the set of analysis codes and utility programs that you want to run and how information is passed between them. We'll start by importing a simple trace model. We're using trace as an example, but everything here applies to other codes. If we expand the job streams category here, you can see that a default job stream was already created during the import. Let's delete this one and create a new one from scratch. You can create a job stream, like most components, by right-clicking on its category in the navigator. This will open the new job stream wizard and ask you what type of stream to create. Stream types are typically used to run a stream multiple times using snap variables to modify the calculation each time. We'll talk about them in more detail when we get to parametric job streams. As always, if you'd rather not wait, take a look at the stream type section in the Snap User's Manual. For this simple example, we use the basic stream type. Before we move on, notice this option at the bottom of the dialog. This will create a new 2D view for the stream and make it easier to set up. Pressing Next here will take us to the last page of the wizard. This page has a list of the predefined streams offered by the Trace plugin. Each plugin offers a different set of predefined streams to make it easier to quickly set up a calculation using that code. In this case, we're going to go with an empty stream. When we press Finish, the stream will be created, along with a 2D view. In the 2D view, you'll notice that it also created a model node. A model node is a representation of an input model within a job stream. In this case, it's the Sandpipe model we imported. On the right-hand side of the model node, we see Input, the model in ASCII format, and Model, the same model in the model editor's document format. These let you pass the model of the code that will actually run it, in this case, Trace. So let's put a trace step in the stream and connect it. If we click on the Insert Tools drop-down here, it shows a list of the component types that you can create in a view. We're looking to create a stream step. When we select Stream Step from the list, the cursor changes to a large crosshair. If we click here to the right of the model node, we start the process of creating a new step. This opens the Insert Step dialog to let us pick the type of step we want. In this case, we want a trace step, but trace isn't available. That's okay, we'll just create one. This button will open the configuration tool and let us define a trace executable to use in the stream. If we push it, the config tool opens and scrolls right to the applications list here. The configuration tool is used to edit various code-specific settings for Snap. Its interface is not so different from the model editor, Navigator on the left and Property View on the right. And like the model editor, we can right-click in the Navigator to create the new application we need. The Create Application dialog lets us pick the type of application we want to create, in this case, Trace. This list has all the applications that Snap supports directly. We can also name the application here, version 5.0 patch 5. When we press OK, it creates the new application definition. Now we need to set the location of the executable before we can use it. So we press the Select button here, and there we go. Now the Trace application is ready. We just need to save it and go back to the model editor. To do that, we can just exit here and save the changes. This dialog shows you which preferences files were saved. In most cases, it can be safely ignored. Now that we've returned to the model editor, we're still in the middle of creating a stream step. If we look here, it's found the trace application we created in the configuration tool. If we press OK, it'll create the new step, and place it right here next to the model node. Let's rearrange this so it's a little easier to work with. There. Now you'll notice that the trace step and its track-in input are both highlighted in red. Steps turn red when they have an error and will prevent the stream from being submitted. In this case, the error is that the track-in input is required and hasn't been connected. To connect these two, we need the Connect tool. Pushing this button activates the Connect tool so that you can create connections between components. When the Connect tool is active, the cursor will change to indicate points that can begin or end a connection. If we hover over the input connection point, you can see the cursor change to show that a connection can begin. If we click here, then it starts the connection. If we hover over the track-in input here, the cursor changes again, showing that we can complete the connection. When we click here, it connects the two components. So now we have a connection line between the two, showing that they're connected. The trace step is turned yellow to show that it's okay. There's just a few more things we should do before we submit the stream. Snap uses the name property of streams and steps as folder and file names when executing calculations. Before they're submitted, the stream and step should both have descriptive names. So we'll switch back to the selection tool here and select the trace step. The step name is usually some indication of the model we're working with, and any modifications being made to the model in the stream. In this case, we'll go with Standpipe Steady State. The stream name usually includes some indication of the project we're working on. For this, we'll go with My First Stream. Now we're ready to submit the stream, but let's look at one more feature. If we select the step again, the View in Job Status property will make Job Status open a console for this job so we can watch it execute. The Interactive Step property will turn on the interactive controls for the calculation. This will let us see the current calculation time as well as pause or steer the calculation. We'll get into interactive controls in a later video, but for now, just being able to see the calculation time is enough. Okay, let's submit this stream and see what happens. There's a bunch of ways to submit a stream, but they all do the same thing. Let's use the right-click menu this time. This menu item will run the stream on your local computer. If we select this, and press OK in the confirmation, then the stream is bundled up and started. The job status pops up to show the execution. This application, as its name implies, shows the status of any running or completed job streams. In this case, it's showing the status and the console output of the trace step we just submitted. It has a lot of other features, but this video is long enough already, so we'll have to cover them later. For now, let's just halt this calculation.